Hello and welcome to MFA 701 at Southern New Hampshire. I am Jason Morgan, also known as J. Lloyd Morgan. That's my pen name. And welcome to this class. This is the introductory video for this class. We will have a separate video that will walk us through what we're doing for Module 1. But we do need to kind of introduce you to the class and make sure that we know what's going on. So, this class is very interesting and unique because it is the second of 3 classes. So there was 701, which is actually, there was 700, which was the first class that we took. 701 is the second class we took, and then 702 will be the third class. So they have this really cool diagram. Southern New Hampshire created this. Let's take a look at it. Boom. All right, so the goal by the end of 702 is to have a revised novel. So if you haven't seen this before, this is kind of important. So when you started 700, you should have been around 15,000 words, and the goal for MFA 700, the class previous to this, was to write between 20 to 30,000 new words. So you should have gotten to the 35,000 word mark. And actually, that's the word count you need to be at to start this class. So if you're not quite at 35,000 words when you're watching this video, write some more words so you can get to 35,000, because by the end of this class, you are going to finish your first draft. Dun, 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 dun. That's correct, because 702 is all about revision. You're not writing any new words for 702. You are doing revision. So, now, I've worked with several of you before, and we'll talk about this in a minute, that you're not going to end up, your full novel will be more than 75,000 words. Keep in mind that this is the plan for the school, and when you're writing books on your own, you will have a different format, as it were, but this is kind of the plan for the MFA program at Southern New Hampshire. So the big takeaway that I want you to get is that by the end of 700, you should have about 35,000 words. If you're not, you really need to get to 35,000 words before you start this class, because you have a lot to write for this class. But it's fun. Writing is fun. Yes, it is. Okay. Some other things that I want to let you be aware of is that we will be using the book Story Genius as our textbook. There's also the hot sheet. I have a video here that gives you some insight on Story Genius. For those of you who did not have me for 700, we need to kind of go over something. Now, you're not in trouble and you're not at a disadvantage, but be aware there is something that we need to cover. And this is actually a little document that was sent to me by Southern New Hampshire. Basically, if you have not taken 700 from me, or you took a break, or whatever, I need to kind of get caught up with what your book is. Now, I would love to sit down and just read what you've written thus far. Alas, with 11 students in the class, that is just not possible. I cannot read everything that you did up to this point in time. So I need to kind of get a synopsis of what you're writing about. Now, here are some ideas of things that you can send me to help me get up to speed. So what I'm asking is for those students who did not take 700 from me is to send me an email as soon as possible that kind of gives me a general update, synopsis of your work to this point in time. Because, as we go back and look at our little sheet here, so in 700, before we got here, this was kind of all exposition, and we started the rising action. So we were looking for introduction of conflict, things that are making the main characters be able to grow and develop. For this class, 701, we will finish the rising action, hit the climax, have the falling action, and the resolution. So when I'm looking at your work for this class, I am looking to see, are those elements in there? I'm really not grading the particular stuff that you did up to this point in time. I'm looking at this point in the novel, have you ramped up the stakes? Have you gotten to a point where you need to have a climax and then falling action and you wrap stuff up. So that's how I will be focusing my attention when it comes to grading the assignments. One other point that I want to make is under the course menu, if you go to discussions, and actually I'm a little leery about clicking on this because I don't want to show any student information, but if you go to discussions, the very first discussion board for Module 1 is where you get to sign up for your classes. Not for your classes. Sign up for the week that you're going to be submitting your files. Okay, so for Thesis 1 and Thesis 2. Now, if you took 700, for you're familiar with this process, keep in mind, for those of you who took 700 from me, we had a lot more wiggle room because we could have 3 people per week sign up. And a lot of people liked the earlier weeks and a lot of people liked the very last weeks. And a few of you, for various reasons, asked to be pushed back weeks. The answer for this semester is I don't know that we can do that, because more than likely people are going to sign up for those final weeks, and I simply cannot give the proper time and attention to more than 3 of these submissions per week. Okay, that's not fair to you, and it's not fair to everybody else in the class. So for whatever weeks you sign up for, then that's what we're going to do, and I will talk more about that in Module 1. But be prepared to shoot for the days that you're going to do. If you say to yourself, well, I'm a procrastinator and stuff comes up, I'm going to pick the last week. Well, you're not alone. There's a lot of people that think that way, and I can't do that for everybody. So please, please, please look at what worked for you in 700. What are you going to do to push yourself a little bit? But if you sign up for the last week and you don't get it, because if I have more than 3 people sign up for the last week, I basically have to flip a coin to see who gets the last week and who doesn't. And if your response is, well, I need the extra time because I'm a procrastinator, my answer is going to be, well, that is not a good excuse. I'm sorry, it just isn't. Just because you put things off to the last minute is not a valid reason for you to get priority over somebody else. And I'm sorry to be so abrupt about that, but that is just kind of reality. So I'm looking forward to working with you. Another thing that we'll talk about in Module 1 is that what I did in 700 is after I have read your work, we set up a Zoom conference where we talk for about half an hour or so. And we really just talk about your book and how things are going. I thought it went very well for those who took MFA 700 with me. I really enjoyed having those discussions with students, and I thought they got something out of it. So look for more information on that. So welcome to MFA 701. I know this is kind of a crazy time in the world right now with everything that's happening. And please reach out to me via email if you have concerns, and I'll do all I can to help. But understand that I also have limited time and a lot of strain on my resources. So there's only so much flexibility that I'm able to offer and the school is able to offer. So keep that in mind, but we'll do all we can to help. And there you go.